Okay guys, we've got a game here on Greentooth Gorge featuring Guru, Skippy and Pax. Imperial Guard and Orcs. But for some reason, Guru Skippy is playing as the Inquisitor and Pax is playing as the War Boss, which... Don't ask me why, I don't know, you'd have to ask these guys. Perhaps they did the old classic, they were playing things they're more familiar with. I know Pax has a little bit of an affinity to the Inquisitor, even though he is a Chaos Lord main. Guru Skippy, obviously. Everyone knows him as a little orc lover. Maybe they were just like arguing about balance and decided, you know what? Why don't we switch it up and see, actually, are the things that I'm talking about true? We'll find out. So, straight away, we got a nice amount of blob gapping here from Pax. Guess he's, I mean, it's going to put some pressure on the Inquisitor. She needs to get the hell out of there. Perhaps Guru didn't realise it was actually fighting 3 units there. He just seen a unit capping the VP, thought it was one shooter. So that's the Inquisitor gone. And Sentinel coming in for a little bit of harass here, but not going to do amazing against double shooters. He should do fine. The garrison is the problem, really. Not the best micro from Guru there, rotating the Sentinel fully around instead of backing off whilst shooting. But this is not a great spot for the shooters here. We've got the Sergeant coming in for these Guardsmen, so they've got a lot of HP, and the shooters were not in cover. They've took too much damage. They're going to start bleeding soon. These guys still out of cover. These guys really low on HP. Really don't like this push here from Pax. He's got the Slugger flank, but it's just not a big deal. The Sentinel has bled so much the shooters and can then just walk away, even if the Slugger boys do manage to force off the Guardsmen. So a little Hammer of the Witches coming down there, instantly killing a Slugger boy, and now the Inquisitor getting stuck in melee. Doing alright, she's getting those specials, and the Sluggers would probably win 1v1. But too much supporting firepower here, with the Sentinel and the Guardsmen still in play. Meanwhile, the War Boss has been keeping himself busy, capping points, as you can only expect a War Boss wanting to do, right? That's what he's here for, capping points, not fighting. Logical. I think that was a little bit too over-aggressive from Pax. I think he should chill out a bit in the early game until he can get his Orc upgrades. And ideally be using his War Boss in combat and his Sluggers to cap. Now obviously he couldn't have done that then, because just the way that the units were positioned, the War Boss wasn't going to encounter anyone. But rather than sending the Sluggers in and pushing the shooters so far up and getting a load of bleed, because he really did get a lot of bleed, I'd have been a lot more defensive. Sent the Sluggers maybe over here, waited for the Guardsmen to come down and hit them, maybe got burners and got rid of the gens, just kept the shooter boys around here, but not pushed up on the Sentinel, because you're not going to win that fight when they've got cover and you don't have any upgrades on your shooters. Regardless, he's gone for looters, and Guru's matching him with a heavy weapons team. So that'll be interesting to see play out. So Guru does see the looters now. Looks like the Inquisitor's doing quite well actually, bleeding these Slugger boys. Probably hit them with another Hammer of the Witches, but she had very low HP. That's one of the big weaknesses of the Inquisitor. Even though she's a melee hero, her health regen is really low. And she doesn't have like a HP regen armor like a lot of melee heroes. So a bit of a standoff right now, and it definitely favours Guru given that he has that VP. Oh, yeah, I guess he didn't have any line of sight. Looters unfortunately set up a little bit too far back. They've got to be really careful with the positioning here. They might get suppressed themselves. Heavy weapons team, yeah, needs to rotate and suppress the looters, which it does. They'll get one burst off. Does it suppress? Indeed it does, but there should be no follow-up. Yeah. So not very good engagements here from Pax, possibly losing his shooters here. Completely missed microing. Going to lose his looters of all things. Perhaps going to get very close. Sentinel is putting in that damage. Unfortunately, probably not going to get it. Retreat. Damage modifier a little bit too strong, and the War Boss not really achieving a whole lot here either. Goes in, kills 2 Guardsmen, and then gets Hammer of the Witches. Hammer of the Witched? He gets hit by Hammer of the Witches. Oh my god, Hammer of the Witch. That probably makes the most sense. How do you even say that? Gets hit by Hammer of the Witch. That probably makes the most sense. And then has to get out of there. We're seeing now the Rosarius upgrade and the crossbow bolt pistol here on the Inquisitor. In a nice position here from the heavy weapons team behind green cover, covering this approach. Yeah, the Orcs are struggling. The Orcs are definitely struggling. They're actually somehow ahead on VPs, I guess because of the Warboss taking this VP early. Guru's looking to change that right now, but deterred there by the Daka of these shooter boys. Both the shooters are back again. Guardsmen are in cover here, so this is a pretty good position. Shooter boy is obviously not in cover. Just going to suppress those guardsmen, shut them up for a bit with an aiming what's that to enable the looters to get into position. Looters are exposed right now in the open, but it doesn't really matter. Not enough DPS right now. Guardsmen just get wiped. I don't know what that was all about. What was he looking at? I guess he turned over here for a second to rotate his heavy weapons team, and my god, the Daka was poured on there by the Orcs, and yeah, losing that Guardsman squad, that's going to be pretty brutal for Guru Skippy. Now we've got a really big push coming out. Oh, unfortunately for Pax, he had to retreat his Slugger Boys a little bit early there. If he had a bit more HP and could have moved in and tied up the heavy weapons team, then these guys could flank it. But right now, this heavy weapons team's actually been really good for Guru Skippy. No angry bits in the Warboss. That's one thing you could use to counter it. You don't want to just charge directly into its face, but if you move the Looter Boys up, and the heavy weapons team is then focusing the Looter Boys, and then you put the Warboss like here, Looters here, Warboss here, charge of the Warboss, he can't shoot both, and he has to suppress one, or they're going to stop shooting either way, so. But we're not seeing that from Pax. It's been quite conservative. No shooter knobs either. So he's going to go to tier 2 a little bit earlier than Guru Skippy. Guru Skippy did opt to replace his Guardsman. Probably a good idea. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. Obviously, these Guardsmen right now without a Sergeant, they're going to get wrecked. Not fully in cover. They're getting hit out of cover over here. And now there's a Warboss charging into them. Even with a Sergeant, you got to get out of there, boys. Thinking about taking the garrison, it looked like. And Guru, not aware of the looter down here, obviously would not have had line of sight. He's going to suppress these guardsmen, they're melting. But the Inquisitor should have a pretty good time down here with her little bolt pistol. Now you can see the Sluggers have got their HP buff from getting the burner upgrade. They're not going to die instantly to one hit of the Hammer of the Witches. I don't know if the Inquisitor is going to win this or not, actually. That HP buff on the Sluggers is insane. Oh, actually, they've got Ard Boys dropped on them. So definitely with the Ard Boys getting that damage resistance buff, they're definitely going to win. But it was a good job. Guru actually retreated. I really don't think Pax should have used that global there because he was getting the Slugger Knob in. I think even if you let another 3 Slugger models die, he got the Slugger Knob in, might have had a chance to kill the Inquisitor and retreat then as that Slugger Knob comes in. But the Sluggers are still in play. I guess that's the main thing he wanted. He just really wanted to keep them in play so that he could try and get this gem bash. But the heavy weapons team, once again, going to be a bane in the side of Pax here, just constantly shutting him down. He needs to get a good counter to this, and we see what he's going for. He's going for the stick bombers. That's obviously going to be very useful in dealing with a setup team. Oh my god, loses the Slugger Knob instantly. That's really unlucky. Jesus. He only just got him and he hadn't even fought. So I guess the heavy weapons team was really focusing him with the heavy bolter. Go on, heavy weapons team. Stick bomber's going to try and get a bit of vengeance. That did not even kill a guardsman. What the? Stick bombers, please. I mean, it forces them off. But the problem with stick bombers is every single grenade toss, be it your normal stick bomb frag grenades or the stun bombs, they cost red. So if you're not getting kills with each throw, you are going to drain yourself of red pretty damn quick. Which is not really ideal. But they're a cheap unit. They don't cost a lot of power. So where has the power expenditure of Pax gone? I guess he has spent 50 power now on Nob Leaders. And then these guys are what, 20 power? So 70 in total, and he's got what left? Yeah, he's got another 60, so I guess that makes sense. Guru's put all of his power so far into a Chimera. Now, we don't see any AV yet for Pax, but he could get a Beamy Looter, which wouldn't be bad. Beamy Looter plus Tank Busters should make the Chimera have a pretty bad day. Oh yeah, we see one Nob Leader coming in now as well, on the shooters. Not two. Still got a lot of power left for Pax. I guess he's kind of waiting to see what Guru's going to go for. Now, this is one of the things that makes the IG heavy weapons team really, really annoying. That frigging shield that they can get in tier 2. So it gives the lead model a lot of damage resistance. I don't know how much, but a good amount. And more importantly, it gives it knockback immunity. So the grenades don't even knock over the weapon. It keeps shooting. Very, very annoying. And I think It's kind of a classic story where the stick bombers just don't really pull their weight. Not yet anyway, we'll have to see. Oh, and a missed micro here from Pax. He's going to lose his looters. That is really bad. He was really focusing on trying to kill the Sentinel, even throwing some stun bombs out there to try and freeze it in place for a couple of seconds to get the kill with the shooters. But it's not going to be effective. They miss, and that is a waste of red, and unfortunately, he missed microed, and now he's going to be losing his looters. And that's bad, because, you know, generally you want 2 sources of AV to ever take out a vehicle. Now he's only got 1, the tank busters, but they've got themselves in a beautiful position. Who needs 2 sources of AV to take out a vehicle? Not Pax. Instantly takes out the Chimera, so we've got a bit of a Game of Thrones going right now. Sentinel's looking real low. Looks like these guardsmen are going to get wiped by use your chopper slugger boys. I really don't know about the choice to upgrade to the autocannon here. If that was a heavy bolter, then these sluggers would have been suppressed and put in their place. And in fact, the sluggers are going to go through and kill the heavy weapons team. Sentinel does manage to get out with only 16 HP. Stormtroopers are going to be dropped in via the Global of the Inquisitor, and the Slugger Boys are looking to hunt them down. Finally, forced to retreat, but they went on a little bit of a rampage right there. So big mistake from Guru, I think, going for the autocannon. Don't really know why he went for it when there was no vehicle. Yes, it does more damage because it has that splash, and it doesn't have a range modifier, so it does full damage at long range, but ultimately, you find a war boss, and you know that his melee forces are going to be very scary with those global buffs. You get an autocannon, you can no longer suppress those boys, and what we just seen happen is kind of inevitable. So he loses his heavy weapons team after all that. Who'd have thought the counter was not the stick bombers, it was the slugger boys. So pretty big losses actually for Guru there. It's not really a big deal losing the looters at this point. He's got fully upgraded shooters, which are now getting levels. They can still suppress with aiming. What's that? To set up some nice grenades with the stick bombs. And, you know, like I was saying, the main use of those looters was to get a beamy death gun to kill the Chimera, but he killed it anyway just with busters. So he's fine. Meanwhile, Guru, a bit of a sloppy grenade there. They were already retreating. You had the war boss engaging. That Sentinel missile launch has been a bit of a problem. Weird Hell Fury strike there, a little bit late. And then he walks his guardsman into it as well. Not the best stomp either. But yeah, good on these slugger boys to back off there. They don't want to overextend and get focus fired by all this crap. It'd go bad for them. Both players actually got quite a lot of resources, Pax in particular. Once the Sentinel falls, a light vehicle from the Orcs could be quite useful. Wouldn't really be very helpful right now. This is nice from Guru, using the cover here from the Chimera, so that the Orcs can't get a full surround on the Inquisitor. Only a few of the models could hit her. Obviously that's going to make her a lot more tanky. And then the Rosarius means she won't get knocked over either. So Guru Skippy right now going to be opting for another Assault Kit Stormtrooper probably. But Pax is going tier 3 and this could be a problem. Honestly, stick bombers so far mostly been a waste of red. I don't think they've even killed a single model with their grenades. That's probably cost like 100 red. I don't really understand the logic of a lot of these throws. Like, it was quite obvious that these guardsmen were going to retreat anyway. I really don't think you needed to throw a stun bomb there. Again, it's just red. These sluggers. Oh no, these are tank busters getting a gem bash. So, yeah, I mean, that's effective. Power is still relevant right now. Guru doesn't even have the power to go tier 3. Never mind go tier 3 and then get a Lehman Russ. So that gem bash is going to be pretty strong for Pax. And honestly, economically, that puts Pax in a brilliant position. So Pax sits tier 3, let's see what he's going to go for. Looted tank feels kind of obvious. The only thing is, the Sentinel would be a pain in the ass. The fact it's heavy infantry armor actually means it's pretty good against tanks and duels. But obviously, shooters and busters can put on a lot of pressure. And all the rest of this stuff, super vulnerable to looted tanks, which have the highest amount of burst damage. So the highest damage per hit, but not the highest DPS of all tanks. They also have the best splash damage profile, so against all these blobby infantry, they're very effective. And stormtroopers, yes, they're only 5 units in a 5 models in a unit, but they're very, very tightly packed. So a tank shot will nearly always hit all models, which can be very strong. Better stomp hitting all the models here except the Slugger Boy Knob. Going to be a Hell Fury strike comboed with that. It's pretty nice. Finally, a decent hit there from the stormtroopers. Not the stormtroopers, sorry, the stick bombers on the stormtroopers, stunning them and getting them out of play. The sluggers did have to retreat. Sentinel now just backs off a little bit.
Show me our way to victory.
Yeah, it's going to be a looted tank. I do feel like this Inquisitor's done very good. A lot of pressure from it. Quite interesting that Guru is going to be going for the Ogrins. I'm shocked at this. Going Ogrins against the Warboss is typically a bad idea, because he'll just dominate them in melee. And, well, forgetting about that, he should know that, you know, we're quite late in the game right now. Pax probably has tier 3 units coming. He's only bought tank busters and stick bombers in tier 2. I mean, that is super, super cheap in terms of power. At no point in this game has Pax had his gens bashed. Guru has had his gens bashed. Guru should be aware. Stick bombers doing pretty good in melee here. That's one of the coolest things about stick bombers is they've got 18 melee skill for whatever reason. So even at level 3, this Inquisitor would be immune to special attacks from Slugger Boys that are level 2. But not stick bombers. Here comes the looted tank. Let's see what it can do. Good initial hit on the Guardsmen here, which are running way too far forward right now. Good grenade there on the shooters though from the Stormtroopers. Sentinel needs to swap to its missile launchers and put some pressure on. Now, Ogrins still have their use your head ability, and you see it does initial knockback when it activates, and soon it will do another burst of knockback, but the Slugger Boys are going to have to retreat. Too much supporting firepower. A bit odd that the Ogrins just decided to instantly retreat there as well when they had full health. They're actually the ideal target to be tanking shots from the looted tank, because look at that, man. They only lost 2 models there, the Guardsman squad, but they just lose about a third of their HP instantly. If you want a squad to be tanking shots whilst the Sentinel can get some poke with its missile launchers, you want the Ogrins to be doing that.
Stormtroopers reporting ready.
With this, I cannot be touched.
We just need to find an edge. Enemy unit spotted.
So we see now the Inferno pistol has been picked up here on the Inquisitor. Losing a crazy amount of HP there to the looted tank, but looted tank's a little bit scared of the Sentinel. It does have its reinforced armor plating. Stormtroopers right now are just scouting, getting line of sight. Obviously they can't do anything to the tank, but what they're doing is they're enabling the Sentinel to move forward and make sure it focuses its fire on the tank. And you can see in a duel right now, the Sentinel actually will do very well. Shoot Boys really need to get onto that Sentinel. For some reason these stick bombers were just thrown in there, which was very odd given that there was Guardsmen to shoot them, there was Ogrins nearby. Ogrins right now could just melee the looted tank. It's driving way too far forward. Probably want to see you use your choppers on the Slugger Boys. Actually doesn't matter. For some basically very slow reactions from both players here. Sentinel obviously needed to back off there and draw the looted tank forward whilst the Ogrins meleeed the tank. But neither really happened. I guess Guru was focused more on his Sentinel, which went down anyway to the combined fire of these wad up shooter boys and the looted tank. And then the Ogrins just were in too deep by the time he realised. Took a lot of damage from the sluggers and had to get out themselves. So I mean, this puts Guru in a pretty bad spot. He's gone for a heavy weapons team, which we have to assume is going to be picking up a las cannon in order to counter the tank, but you know, it's only one source of AV. We did see one source of AV earlier taking out the Chimera. It shouldn't really happen in a high-level game. These vehicles, your transports and your tanks, they're faster than any infantry squad, so they should be able to get out and evade being killed in most situations. Chad Guardsman there, eating a chain axe to the back from a Warboss, doesn't even die. Pretty big boom shot there. Not actually doing that much HP damage, but gonna have to be cautious with these Stormtroopers now. If they eat a normal shot from the looted tank, that could be pretty brutal. Probably won't kill them, but 2 will. Looted tank is so scary for IG, man.
Enemy contact.
So the last cannon fires its first shot, so Guru knows now that there is a last cannon in play. Warboss is just sitting there, distracting those guardsmen. Can't really do anything to them in the garrison, but at the same time, the guardsmen aren't going to do a lot to him, because only a few of them are going to be firing. And no upgrades for the Warboss, which I find a little bit strange. I dislike the play here from the Sluggers moving so far forward. I think they were trying to flank around to maybe attack the garrison, but just left them vulnerable to being focus fired. And the thing is, he kind of needed them to be here because they were the deterrent for the Ogryns. So last cannon can get a shot off and snare the tank, and then the Ogryns can try and melee it to death if there's no Sluggers nearby. That shouldn't be too difficult. But probably want... Well, you need the looted tank to be a little bit less HP, because otherwise the Ogryns won't kill it quick enough before the snare can actually wear off. Nice use of the Rosarius there by the Inquisitor. Can't be knocked over with it active, so it's a perfect tool to get the cap. And it is sighting for the last cannon, which is putting out some pretty decent DPS actually against the tank here. Looted tank's going to move over to try and deter it, but right now Guru's playing it well actually with the tools that he's got. You see the flanking stormtroopers there on the left hand side near Pax's natural VP, causing some problems. Because they're always taking 2v1 fights and they're getting the initial shots in, which puts the shooters at a big disadvantage. So even without being able to properly counter this looted tank, he's doing quite well. Where are the Ogryns? Oh, they're down here right now, okay. Looks like Pax probably just going to mostly ignore them. I'm going to move the looted tank down, that's interesting. I really feel like this side of the map isn't as important right now. And it's really inefficient to use the looted tank against the Ogryns, because like I said earlier, they can just tank those shots so well. See the second proc of the knockback there from Use Your Ed. The Ogryns trading really well there with the Sluggers. Gonna get out without a model loss, unbelievable at level 1. Crazy, that's really lucky for Guru. These guys are so expensive to reinforce, it's absurd. Sluggers should be able to get in melee here. Not enough DPS from the guardsmen, it's close, but oh my god, look at that looted tank shot. Man. Yeah, the sheer level of splash damage on that looted tank is so scary for guardsmen. Bit of a cheeky blob cap here, I'm not sure about that. Might want to consider using Judgment a bit here. Judgment plus Hell Fury on a blob like this would be quite deadly. Oh, I don't know about just trying to cap under the fire of the looted tank here. I don't think he's going to be able to manage it. A little bit too much damage coming in from the shooters there. We've now got the Excruciators coming out. I don't know about that. I guess the Slugger Boys have been kind of annoying. Looks like the Stormtroopers on this side managed to take out the Warboss. And where did the shooters go? Oh yeah, they went in the mid. So yeah, they didn't... I don't know why he's not dealing with the Stormtroopers on the left. They definitely seem like a bigger problem to me. I feel like the looted tank should be dealing with them. They would kill them a lot faster than it would kill Ogryns. And the Stormtroopers would bleed more too. Really doesn't seem like Guru's been bleeding that much, but on the plus side for Pax, Guru hasn't replaced his gens. Or at least, I don't think he has. Maybe the tank busters destroyed them.
Their looted tank is active.
But it is good play. Oh yeah, you can see the damage onto the Stormtroopers here from the tank. Scary stuff. It is good play from Pax though, constantly sending his busters down here and decapping these VPs. It's definitely kept him in the game. And he's got knobs now. But, you know, we do have Excruciators, hilariously. They will actually be a pretty good counter to these knobs. The problem is there's not really any follow-up right now. We don't have any plasma guns on the guardsmen. And these guys are heavy infantry, so they're going to take a lot less from the las guns. Yeah, Ogren's backing off there. Don't really want to fight the knobs. I mean, honestly, they could take them on and do pretty damn well when they've only got their default chain axes and not their U-jammers. But the U-jammers are on the way. We've got a bit more harassment over here. Stick bombers dying. Really don't think the stick bombers paid off at all this game. Some deployable cover going down here. The guardsmen are going to tank the shots while the stormtroopers can output their DPS. Nice classic IG play. Shooters don't want none of it. Guardsman here now picks up some plasma. Where are these knobs? The knobs are just capping the wreck point. Not really sure that's the priority right now, guys. I think you need to get on the VPs. VPs are getting precariously low. 129 for Guru. Coming up to 100 VPs for Pax. He's got that tech lead, but what can he do with it? Oh, could potentially wipe the stormtroopers here. The next looted tank shot. Is it going to shoot? It shoots. That should be enough. Yeah, that's enough. Even on retreat, it's too much damage. Missed micro there from Guru. He was looking over here. We see Excruciators being used on the knobs here, pinning him in place. Taking a lot of damage here from both the plasma guns and the melter damage of that Inquisitor. No knob leader on these knobs. The knob leader is coming in now, but the Ogrins are coming down to assist. You've got Stormtroopers outputting their DPS. As much as these hotshot las guns won't do crazy damage due to the heavy infantry of the knobs, that's just too much. Just too much firepower. Especially when they'd already lost one model. Excruciator is a very, very nice counter there for the knobs. Well, assail. The ability is assail. Just pins one enemy target squad in place for quite a long time and does a little bit of damage over time.
Top priority. Understood.
I guess Pax got the knobs just so he could be certain that he could take on the Ogrins, but I don't know. I don't feel like the Ogrins have done that much. Honestly, it feels like maybe getting another looted tank would have been good. Obviously, there's a las cannon, which is now setting up in a position where it can get some good shots on the tank. Yeah, tank needs to get out of there ASAP. Will the las cannon get shot? Oh, it does. The looted tank's gone. It's gone. He didn't see the las cannon in the back. He probably didn't have line of sight. And now the Ogrins are in a beautiful position for some retreat wipes. Maybe going to kill the stick bombers here. Needs to turn around, hit these shooters. We've got a sail coming in. Going to be using that on the slugger boys that are in retreat path. Oh, they're getting melted by plasma and las guns. That is a dead slugger boy squad. Use your choppers. Dropped on the knobs. I guess anticipating a fight with the Ogrins, but the Ogrins just ran past. Left the guardsmen to get wrecked. Knobs going to be proccing some specials here, killing all kinds of guardsmen. They need to get the hell out of here. Remember the witches. I mean, it stuns one model, but the Inquisitor needs to be quite careful herself. 4 knobs right now in that squad. Busters are at it again. Maybe Guru Skippy did try and replace these gens earlier and the Busters were just at it. Oh, now we're seeing melter gun stormtroopers? Wait, oh yeah, he lost the other squad of stormtroopers, didn't he? Oh, that's quite annoying actually, because he's replaced them with the melter guns, trying to kill that looted tank. He didn't even need to. He killed it with the las cannon and the Ogrins, so well. I mean, they're still good damage. They're a little bit tankier than normal stormtroopers, but not really ideal in this situation. Technically, will do more DPS to knobs than the hotshot las guns, but obviously way inferior range, which is pretty scary. You generally don't want to get very close to knobs. And a sail on the knob squad here should shut them up. Looks like there's... Oh no, there should be energy. There should be energy. Are we going to assail it? Must be off cooldown, right? Did we see use your head? Have we seen it already? Decent stick bombers for a change. Looks like use your head was just used. I'm not sure. Actually, they're proccing specials on the knobs hilariously, because the knobs are level 1 and the Ogrins are level 2. It means the knobs can't actually proc specials. And so the Ogrins are wrecking them alongside the Plasma Guardsman fire. The Inquisitor, though, getting a bit too deep. She's going to fall. Stun bombs going in. Let's see them fight the stick bombers, though. You see the stick bombers, because they've got that 80 melee skill, they can't be specialed by the Ogrins. In quite the contrary, the stick bombers are specialing the Ogrins, so the Ogrins are getting knocked over. They're just too tanky, though. Level 3 Ogrins at this point. Only losing their bonehead. Still pretty tough. Some decent stick bombs were going in there onto the guardsmen. Killed a few models, but too many. Too many guardsmen. How are you going to deal with this, Pax? Pretty poorly, I guess, when you don't have a looted tank. I think that was the major fuck-up for him here. Not... I mean, he wouldn't have seen the las cannon, I don't think, anyway, because of sight. But this is a really awkward position to have a looted tank when you know Ogrins are coming from here, because you can't. You have to drive around this fucking thing, potentially exposing your rear armor to a las cannon if it sets up here. And if you get hit by the las cannon and snared and you're driving down here, you know that the Ogrins can just melee you, so... My sixth sense would have been tingling if I had my looted tank in that position. Like, no, you need to get it here or here, so it has a nice, easy reverse path out to retreat. And we're going to see another heavy weapons team. Probably going to be a heavy bolter this time. Just another tool to control these orcs. Stop the knobs just charging forward. They can only use frenzy once, right? Oh, tank busters may be dying here. They've got a lot of HP, 240. But nope. Inferno pistol's going to get rid of them. Last cannon probably wants to take the cap, not the Inquisitor, but okay. Not sure what the last cannon's doing right now. Cyborg implants. Wow. Getting the cyborg implants. I have to assume, you know, he's in tier 3, you could obviously get the heavy armor. I have to assume he's really showing respect to these Ogrins. This ability here, uses it too early, man. Way too early. Frenzy's activated here, so the knobs can't be suppressed for a while, but it doesn't matter because we've got Use Your Head from the Ogrins, gonna knock these knobs flying back. Use Choppers is activated. Oh, they just got in time. Beautiful special attack there from the knobs, actually doing a load of damage and then a little bit of stick bomber fire. That's going to be a dead heavy weapons team, nice and easy. Now these Ogrins don't want this fight. These are fully upgraded knobs with U-jammers, proccing triple buffs. They've got hard boys, they've got UG choppers. Yeah, get out of there. A lot of bleed there on the Ogrins. Where's the war boss? He's retreated a long time ago. Hellfury Strike dropped in the mid, but shooters should be able to get that healing. Oh, the VPs, man. The VPs are super low. Yeah, the VPs are too low. Yeah, he can get this cap. He will have time, I think. Oh my god, that's really close. Does he have time? No, he doesn't have time. Even if he had time, it doesn't really matter. Look at the HP of these orcs. Obviously, the guardsmen are coming back out again. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. These guys are capping down here, so... Would have been a 2 to 1 even if he got that cap. But what a game, down to the wire. 18 VPs for Guru, 0 for Pax. I didn't even realize the VPs were that low. Very scrappy. Honestly, Ogrins, I was questioning the choice, but they did amazing. Knobs, it feels like this classic story where knobs and stick bombers, everyone complains about them, but man, look, I don't know about the wider balance, but I can say for certain, knobs and stick bombers not really pulling their weight in this game. Level 4 in the end for the stick bombers, but kind of everything got really high level. Yeah, just a load of fucking carnage. Very surprising to me that we didn't see any Warboss upgrades sooner. I think that was a big letdown of Pax's play here. But what can you do? And I think one of the other telltale things was the knobs getting wrecked 1v1 by the Ogrins, because the Ogrins are level 2 and the knobs are level 1. So the Ogrins just keep proccing specials and knocking them over. It's a weird mechanic in this game that tier 3 melee squads don't have like 71 melee skill instead of 70, you know, so because obviously if you get a squad in tier 3, it's only going to be level 1, and it's going to be facing squads that have existed since tier 1, like ASM, which start off at 70 melee skill. So just think about that, you know, it only takes level 2 ASM and then the knobs can't proc specials on them. That's a problem, man, I think. Anyway, that's a wider debate. Hope you did enjoy this one. Thought that was a pretty good game. Nice to see some non-Space Marines for a change. It's going to be all from your boy Torpid this time. Signing out.